Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We've been blessed with Dr. Pillai giving us some amazing teachings the last few weeks. He had a Father's Day webinar in which he taught us again a new technique. And recently he's been talking a lot about suffering, human suffering, and his purpose on the earth plane to relieve human suffering. And today we are going through 2 steps that he has given over the past couple months and condensing them into a technique for you to begin to use. Again, this is so that Dr. Pillai's teachings get to you in a way that you're able to implement them. There's no purpose in getting these teachings out to everyone if we're not going to use them. Okay, so what we've done at Pillai Center is to condense them into a 2-step process and help you to implement them into your daily life right now. I will, at the end of this, also talk about Guru Purnima. It's the event that Dr. Pillai will be doing in the end of July, and have some special news about that, so please don't go anywhere. Okay, so for the first part, Dr. Pillai has been talking a lot about Shreem Brzee over the past few months, as you know, through his webinars and videos that he's been doing, because he wants to be able to help you. Shreem Brzee gives us not only wealth consciousness, but life-affirming consciousness so that we can be more engaged with our lives and give us a life force that helps both our health, our relationships, every aspect of what we are creating, because the goddess, the energy of Shreem Brzee, is the creative force. And this is what Shreem Brzee represents. So this 2-step process he's actually given to us. The first includes the technique that he did in order to help us to bring Shreem Brzee into the nostrils and relieve our mind. He told us how that we have all these thoughts continuously. He doesn't have to tell us that, we know that, right? These thoughts, and he said the thoughts will either ruin you or protect you. So we have an opportunity to examine our thoughts as well as let them go, especially with this technique. So our thoughts are very, very important. And he also talked about the divine mind, how we are so incredibly powerful that when we focus our attention on something, and the divine mind within us can be a creative force. And he's going to talk a lot more about that on Guru Purnima as well. So step 1 is bringing Shreem Brzee into the nostrils. Do you remember that technique? He gave it a few months ago, a couple of months ago. So let's review that. Step 1 is bringing Shreem Brzee into the nostrils, and step 2 is to speak out your creation, speak out your goal, speak out your affirmation. Do you remember that one? He gave that one on Father's Day. So we're going to put them together into a 2-step technique that you can use regularly. So step 1, and I'm going to just walk you through the technique right now so that you remember it. You're going to close your eyes, then you'll put your attention, there's 2 different ways to do this technique. You'll put your attention on the nostrils. Breathe in, breathe out just a couple times naturally, and then breathe in Shreem Brzee, right? And then hold, and then say Shreem Brzee 3 times. And then release Shreem Brzee out the nostrils. And he said if you have trouble holding, to do this other technique. So technique 1 is breathe in, Shreem Brzee, hold, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. And you don't have to say this out loud, you can say it internally. Breathe out Shreem Brzee through the nostrils. And it's through this technique that helps to relieve the amount of thoughts we're having, because that was such an important aspect of what he talked about on how our manifestations are being diluted because of the, he calls them stupid thoughts, right? The unintelligent thoughts that are driving us into different directions. And basically diverting our attention from our goal. Because if you can focus your attention on your goal, then you can manifest that way more quickly, right? So, the second technique, if you are not able to go with the breath, sometimes I find it a little hard to work with breath because then I'm holding my breath and getting distracted by the fact that I'm holding my breath. So the other technique that he gave, which I thought was very compassionate, was with ease, absolute ease, just breathing naturally. Don't worry about the breath. Into the nostrils, Shreem Brzee, up into the third eye. So Shreem Brzee, into the third eye. And then you can hold again, but not necessarily focusing on the breath. Just push Shreem Brzee up into the nostrils, into the third eye, and repeat it 3 times. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. You can even touch like I'm doing so that you're accessing the third eye area. Remember when he did the mid-brain tapping? This is a technique you can do. So Shreem Brzee into the nostrils, and then Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, right? And then send it back out through the nostrils, Shreem Brzee. So however you want to work your breath into that second version is up to you. Again, the purpose of that is to not get caught up on when you're breathing, when you're not breathing. So let's just review that one more time. The first technique is to use the breathing. Inhale, and as you inhale through the nostrils, bring Shreem Brzee. So Shreem Brzee at the same time. I can't do it at the same time by saying it and breathing. Shreem Brzee, holding it. At this point, you're not putting it anywhere. You're just holding it. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Hold the breath. Release the breath out through the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. Okay? So Shreem Brzee, inhale. Hold breath. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Shreem Brzee, exhale out the nostrils. Technique number 1. Technique number 2, push Shreem Brzee up into the nostrils, into the third eye. Don't worry about your breath. And then repeat Shreem Brzee 3 times in the third eye. And then release out the nostrils, not worrying about the breath. So at this point, you are empowering this area of the nostrils, which he says allows us to control our thought processes. Okay, so you'll want to also know what your goal is. Because in the last webinar, he said for us to state that out loud. So that's the next step. So you're clearing the thought process. You're clearing the nostrils, which allows us to clear our thoughts. You're infusing it with Shreem Brzee, empowering it with the best thought ever, Shreem Brzee. And now you're going to speak out your affirmation or your goal or what it is you want to create. And that is out loud. So he mentioned very specifically that you are able to charge your brain and your speech. You're taking it from a mental construct into the speech, and there is a power in that. He said when you speak, you manifest. And it's just like in the Bible, God, that when God spoke, the world was created, right? So that is our divine mind, our divine being is speaking its creation. And to not second guess yourself. He said, don't second guess yourself. Don't be embarrassed. Don't worry about failure. That you are this powerful being. You are speaking your creation. It's very powerful. So the 2-step process, again, inhaling with Shreem Brzee, saying Shreem Brzee 3 times, exhaling through the nostrils, Shreem Brzee. Or the second technique is pushing Shreem Brzee into the nostrils, into the third eye, stating Shreem Brzee 3 times. This can be out loud or silently, releasing Shreem Brzee out the nostrils, and now speak your manifestation. What is it that you want to create? So this is something that you can have a lot of fun with, right? So you can really begin to charge your manifestation with Shreem Brzee. You're feeling the Shreem Brzee vibration into the nostrils, into the third eye, into the whole body, really, when you are able to get it to be vibrating for a period of time. And he said you can do this for a minute, you can do this for several minutes. So take this technique and customize it for you, okay? So those are the 2-step techniques. It's pretty simple, right? I really want you all to be able to tap into this in order to make the most of your manifestations. And some of you may want to be coming to Guru Purnima. And I told you I have a special announcement for that. Dr. Pillai has been hearing your prayers. He just yesterday said, I'd like to extend the early bird for another week. So I know that Pillai Center has been putting out a lot of messages about early bird ending on July 1st, which is today. And whatever divine reason, he came to me and said that he wants to extend it. So at Pillai Center, we really like to keep our word and to do what we said we were going to do, which was to end everything, all the savings on July 1st. But Dr. Pillai knows best, of course. And so there we have it. So it'll be extended for one more week till July 7th. And so all of you who have been praying to have an opportunity, maybe one more week, to enjoy the savings on both the live stream as well as the in-person, now is your opportunity this week to go ahead and get that done. Some other things that he's been talking about, privately, is his reduction in the amount that he'll be teaching. He canceled the Singapore event, from what I understand. He has no in-person teaching events scheduled, and he doesn't want to schedule any. So that gives us such an opportunity here in Guru Purnima for the 3 days that he'll be doing a live event in San Diego, that if it's something that you're able to get to, I highly recommend that you go ahead and do your best to do that. Of course, if it's hardship, please, no one, Dr. Pillai does not want anyone to experience hardship or debt for his teachings and his trips, by all means. But if you are able to come and you were just on the fence about it, I would say definitely make that commitment, because there are no more in-person events scheduled at all that I know of. So there you have it. The other opportunity is live streaming. So for the first time ever, we'll be live streaming all 3 days of the seminar. And the schedule is posted on the sales page. So if you want to check that out, you can. It's basically all day. There'll be some breaks for lunch and dinner, but it's a pretty active schedule. And he's been preparing. And like he mentioned a couple weeks ago, how he talked about how he'll be talking a lot more about the divine mind and the manifestation abilities that we have, that he'll teach us techniques on how to bring those out. So I'm very excited about that, and I hope that all of you who are able to can join. There are actually 3 different options for joining. There's the in-person, where that is the best option because you're obviously in his presence, and his presence exudes an energy and an aura that cannot be replaced in any way. But if you can't do that, of course, we want you to have an opportunity to attend from home. Then there's the 3-day live stream from home, which again is the first time we've ever done that. So that's the second ideal scenario. And if that's not within your reach, then there's a 1-day Guru Purnima only. So the full moon of the Guru day, all day long, we'll be live streaming his teachings. And that's the first day of the seminar. So you'll get the kind of the introduction of what he's going to be doing. The next 3 days or 2 days after that, we'll go into depth or perhaps different teachings, but you will get an amazing experience of an all-day connection with Dr. Pillai on one of the most powerful days of the entire year, to receive teachings from him, to be connected with him, and that is on the full moon day. One thing you might also not know, which we've just added in, is the remedies or the proxy rituals that get done in India are included. There's different levels that get included in whichever live stream or in-person event or option that you choose. So you'll receive remedies that are being performed on your behalf as well. So that's always a wonderful bonus, and I love remedies. So let me check and see if there are any questions at this point. All right, questions, please post in the chat. Someone said, I didn't understand technique number 1. Okay, technique number 1. There's basically 2 techniques for the Shreem Brzee in the nostrils, right? There's one with breath, and there's one without paying attention to your breath. For people like me who kind of get caught up and trying to pay attention to breath, and then I'm not meditating anymore, I'm just thinking about not breathing, right? So this is the first one. The first one is breathe in, and as you breathe in through the nostrils, you're saying Shreem Brzee, most likely internally, but it could be out externally, right? So Shreem Brzee, as you inhale, you hold your breath for the duration of saying Shreem Brzee 3 times. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, and then you release your breath, again saying Shreem Brzee out the nostrils, okay? I hope that makes sense. The second technique is not with breath, just not being so concerned. Shreem Brzee in through the nostrils and into the third eye. And then repeating Shreem Brzee in the third eye 3 times, and then releasing Shreem Brzee out the nostrils. Okay? Any more questions? Okay, so someone's asking to lead through the technique. Okay. So technique number 1, close your eyes. Breathe normally a few times, in and out. Now, as you inhale, inhale Shreem Brzee. Shreem Brzee. Hold the breath. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Release the breath out the nostrils, saying Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Inhale, Shreem Brzee through the nostrils. Hold the breath. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Release the breath out the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. Inhale through the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. Hold the breath. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Release out the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. Now, as you're energized with Shreem Brzee, say out loud your affirmation or your goal. I want to be financially free. I want a new car. I have a new home. State your affirmation. The second technique, push, not worrying about the breath, push the technique or push Shreem Brzee into the nostrils, into the third eye. Shreem Brzee into the nostrils, Shreem Brzee in the third eye, 3 times. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Release out the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. In through the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. Third eye. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Out through the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. In through the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. The third eye. Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee, Shreem Brzee. Out through the nostrils. Shreem Brzee. Now state out loud your affirmation or your goal or what you're creating. I want to be financially free. I want a new home. I have a new car. I've doubled my salary. To state in whatever way feels best for you, your goal, your affirmation. Make sure you state it out loud. And then you can do this as long as you like. You can literally do it for a minute. You can stay there for 15 minutes. It's pretty fun once you get into it because the Shreem Brzee really energizes and empowers this whole area. And then you can state with your divine mind your affirmation. And you can say it in whichever way. Some people say I want, some people say I have, some people say I am. Whichever affirmation or goal statement works best for you is just fine. Any other questions? Let's see. Yeah, so I answered the how should we phrase the desire. Are you saying Shreem Brzee or just thinking it as you hold it? Either way. So you can do it in out loud or thinking it. Yeah, the difference, hopefully I've stated clearly, is the first one is with breath. The second one is not worrying about your breath and pushing it into the third eye. That's my favorite one. So if you need to pick one, just pick one. You can have several desires in the same session. But Dr. Pillai does not recommend having more than 3 goals that you're focusing on any given time in order to not dilute or diffuse your attention. So you're charging your thoughts. You're charging your third eye. You're charging your breath with the Shreem Brzee. And this is really important because the first step is to pull Shreem Brzee into our breath, right? How we're using our mind and our senses. So that's really important. Then when we say our affirmation, we state what we're creating, it's supercharged with the energy of Shreem Brzee. My third eye area felt throbbing while I was doing the technique. Yes, that's good. Any other questions? Someone's asking about discounted rate at the hotel. We don't have any more control over that. I will ask them to see if they'll release some, but that's, they basically held a room block for us. Yes, you can say one, yeah, thank you, Bali. You can say more than 1 goal if you would like, up to 3. It's recommended. Any other questions? You might have some questions over on our YouTube channel. All right, let's see, anything else? Any other questions? So remember, the whole idea here is that Dr. Pillai wants you to be able to manifest. He's given us these techniques, and what we did was condense them into a form where you can more easily use them. Okay? What else? Let's see, any other questions? So one of the things Dr. Pillai mentioned is he's going to teach us in Guru Purnima is connecting with the gods, right? How to speak and manifest with the power of God is what these techniques are about. And Dr. Pillai mentioned he will be teaching us about how to connect with the divine beings. I love his Father's Day message was so powerful because he said, you'd rather trust yourself than trust God. And a few weeks ago, he said to a few of us that were there with him, he said, do you trust God to bring you physical things? He said, do you 100% trust God? And I said, I 100% trust God to bring me spirituality, right? Blessings and grace, and I don't have a concern about my soul. I said, but the physical things, I don't have 100% trust. And he said, that's the problem. So he's asking us to trust 100% in God. And that takes a lot of faith. Now, I know I don't have it, but he's going to be teaching more about this during the 3-day event. And to me, that is so important because we've seen when beings trust 100% in God, what can happen. We look at Paramahansa Yogananda on his journeys, Dr. Pillai, different beings, Jesus, right, who trust 100% in God. Now, Dr. Pillai will be going through these techniques and helping us get there. So that's going to be a part of the Guru Purnima that I'm really excited about. The divine mind, and he'll give us steps and techniques to bring forth more of our manifestation power. These are just a couple of small techniques that we should be doing right away. You can feel already just by doing this how powerful that is. Imagine everything else he'll be able to pour into our mind and soul for 3 whole days during one of the most powerful times of the year to receive teachings of your teacher, of your guru, it'll be certainly very powerful. Any other questions? Is Dr. Pillai giving up teaching altogether? No, it's just that he is not committing to anything in person. And so he is okay. Says he'll be continuing to teach us online. But actually, once he started talking about this more, I realized, and many of people who know, who've been around a while, have witnessed his reduction in in-person events. Went from several per year. He would do events regularly in the US and Singapore. He went to London, India, and then year after year it kind of reduced. And we haven't seen, I mean, he even used to do 3 India trips a year. Now he only does 1 India trip per year. He used to do several multi-day retreats per year. Now he's down to a 3-day Guru Purnima once per year. And who knows if that'll even happen next year. So he's definitely in the decline of in-person. And I think that has to do with how he's wanting to preserve his time, his energy, his own speech. Where he places his body is very important to him because of the sensitivity that he has. So we are certainly watching as he's adjusting himself to his own journey, his own spiritual evolution, and what his needs are. But I do believe he'll continue to teach us online. Yes, someone's asking me if we're not available to travel or attend live, will it be recorded? And yes, it will be. It will be recorded and available later if that's something that you'd like to do. What is the initiation during the full moon of the Guru? Would we receive it if we join the first day live session and watch the rest online as recorded? You can't actually join 1 day live session. I think what you mean is in person. So there's only a 3-day option for in person. Last year was the only time we did a 1 day. And so this year it's only 3 days in person that you can join, or online you can join 1 day, or online you can join 3 days. So what the initiation is on the full moon of the Guru, he mentioned he would be giving a Shreem Brzee initiation on the full moon of the Guru. He also mentioned he'll be teaching us how to connect with the divine beings. Now exactly what he'll teach on the full moon of the Guru, the only thing that he mentioned is that he would be giving a Shreem Brzee initiation. Other than that, not exactly sure. So I hope I answered your question, Veronica, regarding the live session. Can you tell us a little bit more about the programs we can enroll into? Just Guru Purnima right now. Any other questions about technique or, okay, I am sure, let's see, I'm trying to look and see if there's any other questions. Can I upgrade my 1 day to 3 day? Yes, you can. Just write to the office at pillaicenter.com. All right, if there are any other questions, then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining. What does initiation mean? Dr. Pillai actually talks about this. An initiation is the ability of a master to instill an empowerment into a student. So when we receive an initiation into a teaching or into a mantra, we've now been empowered by that mantra through the master. So when I say master, Dr. Pillai is a master in his spiritual, in his spirituality. He has the ability to, he's had many different lifetimes, and he has the ability to impart energy to others. I know that because I've been one of those recipients, as many of you have, who have been his president or been in his programs, who say, oh my gosh, I watched this video and now my whole life has changed, or I attended this live call and now, you know, I can feel the mantra differently. My perception has shifted. I've seen a lot of people have experiences by being initiated into Dr. Pillai's into any of his techniques. So an initiation is very important when you are using a technique because it supercharges that particular technique. Okay? How does a lack of personal contact with Dr. Pillai affect one's spiritual evolution? Well, it doesn't have to. There are people in the world who've never met him and are extremely dedicated and have amazing experiences. So it won't impact, you know, your spiritual evolution if you stay connected with him. It's about the connection. Being in his presence is a super bonus, right? If you have the ability, go do that. But it doesn't mean you aren't going to spiritually evolve or aren't going to benefit from his teachings or aren't going to receive his grace and blessings. Definitely not. He's still, you know, beyond space and time, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you can get in his presence, by all means do that. Paul says the breathing technique with Shreem Brzee feels stronger and more absorbing to me. Yeah, that's great. So use whichever one works best for you. Yes, you will get the initiation on day 1. So if you do want to attend just day 1, that's going to be great. You should do whatever works best for your time and your resources. Suggestions on manifesting through writing Shreem Brzee 108 times. Yes, you should write Shreem Brzee 108 times. And Swami Nivali wrote the same thing. By all means, the speaking it out is very powerful, and that's something Dr. Pillai is just starting to tell us to do as a technique. Prior to that, he's been saying we should definitely write it, and writing, excuse me, takes the thought form and puts it into a physical form, and speaking takes the thought form and puts it into a speech form. And both are very powerful ways to manifest. Okay, so day 1, we will get an initiation. Yes, you will get an initiation. You will also receive the teachings that he laid out more recently, which was the divine mind, connecting with the archetype, how to manifest with the power of God. So through those 3 days, he typically creates a scenario where you'll have a progression, right? His teachings are always in the sense that you'll receive something on one day and then a little bit more on the next. And by the 3rd day, you've received quite a bit of information, and it could very well build on each other. Could be different techniques. One of the best things he said in the last webinar was, I'm going to prepare this, but the most important thing that I'm going to teach you is what God allows me to teach you. And that's what's beautiful about Dr. Pillai. It's not cookie cutter. Even when we say what he's going to teach, whatever comes out of him is the most divine, inspired, highest teaching that is available, because he's so tuned in with his higher self, with the divine beings. And on Guru Purnima day, all these divine beings and masters, maharishis, saints and siddhas are literally flooding the earth plane and being with us. And Dr. Pillai is even more empowered on this day because he's accessing them as well as his many past lives, and his power as a guru, his power to remove ignorance is heightened on that day. That's the most powerful day of the year to be connecting with him as a teacher. So that's why you don't want to miss it, because it's not just he always talks about how timing is so important. Divine timing is so important. On this day, he's got that supercharged and tapping into all the divine beings, and then he's going to deliver to us the most profound thing, that is the most profound teaching that's possible that day. So that's why I'm so excited about you not missing it, because I've been with him for 18 years now, and I have to say, like, Guru Purnima, the full moon of the Guru, is such an incredible blessing. It's so powerful. Yeah, if you can do it, please. It's just, it's about your experience with him, and that's what I'm passionate about. Any other questions? So if you're on this page, the viewing page, you can click below, and it says receive initiation during full moon of the Guru. If you click on that, you can see the sales page, and then that lets you look at the different options. It'll say that the early bird is expiring tonight. We are going to extend that because Dr. Pillai has heard your prayers. And if you have any questions, write to us, office@pillaicenter.com, and we will make sure we get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Yeah, so this is a good point being made on the chat as well. If you're not able to join Dr. Pillai's webcast, then you have other teachings online that of his that you can watch. In fact, there's a we're going to be pulling a Full Moon of the Guru free webinar that he did several years ago, and we'll post that so that if you aren't able to join in person or aren't able to join via live stream to what he's teaching now, that you'll have this empowerment that you should watch on Full Moon of the Guru. So we truly want everyone to be benefiting, and that would be a time where you'd be able to pray to him and really dig into what it is you're manifesting. Today we talked about what you want to create. It's so important to be hyper focused on this. It can't be something that just occupies your mind once or twice a day. If you want something, you need to be focusing on it all the time. And the Full Moon of the Guru is a great time to be praying. Any full moon, but particularly the Full Moon of the Guru, is a great time to be praying for your manifestations, because the grace of these beings is so alive on this day. It really helps to magnify these blessings that we're receiving, and it helps to magnify our thoughts. It helps to magnify and multiply what we're able to create. So it's a super creation day. So even if you don't have the resources to come in person or to be on the live stream, we will be posting a video from a few years ago where Dr. Pillai gave a live empowerment and meditation on Full Moon of the Guru, which is really powerful. We want you to do that. So we'll be making that available as well. Yes, so I'm just looking at the chat to see if there's anything else. Yeah, and if you can't attend the seminar while he's delivering it live, you can still watch the replay. Like, let's say if you have to work that day, you'll watch it in the evening or watch it the next day. Absolutely, you'll be able to access that right away. And we'll be putting all of that content into a course online, and then giving you a set of follow-up calls, teaching calls that help to support what was learned, because he typically gives a lot of techniques, and what we'll do is break them down, kind of like we did today, break it down into what's easier to absorb, and then have teaching calls that allow you to be engaged with Pillai Center teachers for several weeks after the event is over, which helps to integrate these teachings. It's like when you go to a seminar, you have all of this information, you're super empowered, and now you have to integrate it with your life, right? You have to implement it in order for it to work. So these teaching calls are weekly, and they will give, here's the technique to focus on this week, and then the next week, and the week after that, and it really helps to have the integration work. Okay. Any other questions? Just checking. Okay, it looks like we're complete here. I don't see any other questions. Someone's asking, is there a particular time to manifest, and for how many days to manifest one thought until it becomes a reality? There are no hard and fast rules in terms of how long it takes. But what Dr. Pillai does teach is that the longer you can hold the thought in a day, or do the meditation in a day, and the more consecutive days you do it, the faster it can happen. Everyone has different karma, different patterns that hold our mindset into different thoughts, right? And these thoughts are what help us, like we said earlier, but Dr. Pillai said, your thoughts either ruin you or protect you or help you create. So when you have particularly strong thoughts, some people have, and everyone has a different set of mindset, different set of karmas. So it may take one person a week or a month to manifest. It may take another person months or years to manifest. So you want to be patient with yourself, and you want to be diligent and set aside as much time as you can. He mentioned, if you can, to set aside 2 to 3 hours per day for your meditation practice. If that does not work for you or not practical for you, then you shorten it to what you can do. And then he typically will say 40 to 45 days, definitely focus in on your technique and your manifestation for that long and see what happens. It may take longer. So if the end of 45 days is something didn't happen, doesn't mean like, forget it. You don't know where in the manifestation process, in the process from it becoming non-material to material, it is. So you don't want to give up on it either. What time does it start on the first day? I think you're talking about Guru Purnima, and that is at 10 a.m. Pacific time on the first day, which is July 26th. Is it fair to keep Shri Yantra in men's wallet? Dr. Pillai has mentioned you can keep a yantra in your wallet. Particularly, he mentioned the Shreem Brzee yantra. And it's up to you. Do we release the thoughts to the universe as if we already manifested them, or do we keep it in our mind with the Shreem Brzee technique? Either way, Dr. Pillai has mentioned that when you create a powerful thought, you can release it to the universe, right? You can let it go. But you also want to be able to remember it regularly. So when you're doing your technique, you're doing your breath, you're pushing Shreem Brzee into the nostrils and into the third eye and then back out. And then you state your affirmation, you state your goal, your manifestation. At that point, after you're done with the technique, you can release. Okay, well, I have another call to get on because the Shreem Brzee immersion call is starting soon. So thank you all so much for joining. If there are any other questions, you can note them on the chat for the next few minutes until we wrap up. And you can also write to us, office@pillaicenter.com. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope that these 2 steps will make it into your daily practice and help you to manifest. And hopefully you also received all the ways to participate in Guru Purnima from free to in person. That is the gamut of ways that you should be able to take advantage of this most powerful full moon coming right up in July, just 25 days from now. So I look forward to you experiencing a beautiful and profound full moon of the Guru this month. And if you have any questions, let us know. We'll talk to you soon. Namaste.